Hello everyone. Good morning good evening all of you. Hoping everyone is fine and great at their own ends. Okay. So people, before starting today's class, I would like some inputs from you people regarding. So what I'm thinking is that next weekend we are having 2 classes and I'm trying to make those 2 classes entirely into a practical class. When I say practical, I would like to incorporate whatever we have learned or going to learn to incorporate that into your day-to-day needs and requirements. That I'm thinking that we should be going ahead with that, right? One thing, am I audible to everyone? Okay. So in order to formulate the next 2 classes, जितना फटाफट से अभी सबका yes 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 आया that I am audible, उतना ही फटाफट से I would require all of you to please tell me just in 2 words that what exactly is the profile of you people, like who are working, they can mention they are into this profile, and whomsoever are studying can mention that they are studying this particular course. Okay. More people, more inputs. I need more inputs from everyone. Graduate, PM, finance and accounts, working management level. So here most of the people are writing they are from the taxation or the accounts team. Most of the people are from that team. So when I believe you are talking about accounts or taxation, I believe you are required to do everything for your client or your own organization, be it maintenance of books, be it bookkeeping, be it finalization of profit and loss, balance sheets, or be it consolidations, be it GST implementation, right? Okay, okay, that's great. So I have this idea that accordingly I'll make the things for going forward. One more thing that I would need from all of you is that, not right now, but before we will take the break today. So before taking the break, we will again spend 5 minutes in this discussion. What exactly this discussion would be about. Now I want you people to tell me. I have my own examples that I'll be taking in the next 2 classes, but I'll also like if you people have anything in your mind that this is something we want to learn so as to speed up our Excel or speed up our day-to-day working. So take your time, take an hour till the time we are going to study. So before your this break, I want those inputs from you people so that I can work upon it for the next entire week and help you to solve your problems. Okay, will that be fine for everyone? So one input I have got. Satyan, which utility? ASAP utility? What is that ASAP utility? Dashboard, Deshwara ji is asking that will I be covering creating a dashboard? Yes, we will be covering, and in fact, it will be you only. You people will be making it tomorrow in the class. I'm not going to make it. आप खुद ही बना लोगे, कुछ नहीं है उसके अंदर. ओके, आप कल ये सब खुद करोगे. ठीक है. So again, we will continue with this discussion before the break. So let's start with today's class. आज की class में basically what I am majorly taking today is your pivots and charts. And pivots would be including your slicer as well, a brief intro about the slicer, how it works. So when we talk about dashboards is something which is based upon multiple slicers at the same time, and multiple charts are there, and on a single sheet you make a presentation where there is no data, it's just that charts, and a slicer is there through which it's just click and your data is visible to you. That is basically a dashboard. So Aj, what we are going to do about the dashboard, we are going to do baby steps today so that you get to know okay, this is the way we move towards making the dashboards. Dashboards बनाएंगे. आज हम pivots और chart majorly cover करेंगे. In addition to that, we are also going to cover a topic which is slightly थोड़ा सा different from MS Excel. This is somehow comprising your MS Word also, but I thought that this is something as a finance person, I should always know that how to do this. So basically, my first topic for today would be, it's a very small topic I've just taken in addition to what we are going to learn in pivots and charts. It's the mail merge. Right? I know this is something it is required every day in your profession. You have letters like, for example, I have this letter regarding advanced tax liability. Every quarter it has to be paid. I have to shoot a mail to my clients. Then if I'm working for an organization, I have to shoot mails to my creditors, vendors regarding their reconciliation of books of accounts. And similarly, I have to shoot up a mail to my debtors so that I can have the balance in their books. Is it matching with my books? It's basically when I have to shoot a same message to multiple persons at the same time. It's just that the message would be same, but what is going to be different is the address, email ID, or the name of the person, which is going to be different, right? So how we are going to do this with the help of mail merge? So mail merge, somehow it takes the help of Excel. So I just thought I should include it. It would take hardly 10 minutes of ours to understand this. So let's do it. So for that, I am transferring this file on your systems. So send from my side, it's a mail merge Excel file, open it. So everyone has got that? Okay. So basically, what exactly is the concept of mail merge is that we have certain names or email IDs available with me. And now I have to shoot a same mail with the different names to multiple people. So I have multiple audience. ये वाला जो task है, like let's suppose if like there are many corporates who are not very big corporates but are mediocre corporates, they outsource such kind of things to people who are in the finance profile or accounts profile. They outsource these kind of things, multiple things to finance people, which includes these sending of the regular communication to their selected parties. Specifically, if I am a finance person, I would be obviously required to take the balance confirmations from my vendors and my customers. So when I'm required to do so, how I'm going to do? So if you will see, let's come on sheet 2. हम यहाँ sheet 2 पे आएंगे. So what does the sheet 2 contains is these information. There is a first name. I've just written random names. It's a last name. Then it's email ID. Email ID I have generated using the ampersand and formula. This is the email ID. Then it's the address, city, state, and country. This is the information provided by the organization. It might be of 50 people, it might be of 100 people, whatever may be the number. And I have to shoot a same mail to all my vendors. Let's take it that this is the detail of my vendors. So I have to shoot a mail to all my vendors that please provide with your balance confirmation or provide with the ledger of my ledger in your books. तो हम क्या करते हैं, पहले एक छोटा सा एक वर्ड डॉक्यूमेंट बनाते हैं. इफ पॉसिबल प्लीज आप लोग मेरे साथ फटाफट से एक वर्ड फाइल खोलें. जहां आपने ये मेल मर्ज अपनी फाइल सेव करी है वहीं पे आप अपनी ये फटाफट से एक वर्ड फाइल बना लें. Open a word file in your sheet. Just we are going to type few things so that we have a draft letter with us. So let's suppose I'm going to type date. Let's take it. I'm going to shoot mail. Then I am writing to space chhod diya, and then subject balance confirmation as on, let's take it 31st August 2021. Then I'm saying dear, जो भी नाम आएगा लिख दिया. Request you to please provide our account balance or ledger as on 1st August 2021. बस इतना ही मुझे लेटर भेजना है. Okay, and so I have to write it a letter, written it like this. सबने इतना लिख लिया? दो इतना लेटर लिख लो so that you get an idea that what we are going to do in this. Written? Okay, giving you another 30 seconds. Okay. So what I have to do now, this is a letter that I have written, I'm saving it. So this is a letter I have to send it to all the vendors whose list has been given to me by my organization. So these are the 6 people to whom I have to send it. So if I would have been doing it as a layman, I would have been typing their information here multiple times, creating multiple letters, and then I would have been sending. So we are going to use a advanced feature of this. So let's click on this mailings. Just give me a second. Okay, so we'll click on mailings. Then there is a button start mail merge. Click on that. So there are multiple options. So these are direct options. We are going to go ahead with this step-by-step mail merge wizard. We are going to follow this and see how it happens. So click on this. So once you click on this, so what will happen is that a separate box is opened on the side of your this Word. All of you are able to see this box. So now what it is asking to me is that what kind of document you are working on. You're working on letters, you're working on email messages, envelopes, labels, directories, anything. So I'm writing I'm working on a letter. Okay. Say the next step it is providing to me is start document. So I'm starting it. So it is asking me that how do you want to set up your letters? You want to use the current document, you want to start from a template, or you want to start from an existing document. So I want to use my current document, which I've already made. So this is already selected, use the current document. Then it is asking me step 2. Step 2 is select recipients. So I will click on that. So it is providing me that you want to use an existing list, select from Outlook contacts, or type a new list. So I have an existing list in Excel. So I'm going to use that, use an existing list. I'm going to click on browse. File is saved. So my file is in this folder. Mail merge. This was my file's name. What happened? Wait a minute. Okay. Just wait a minute. I need to close this file. Closing it. I'm again pressing browse. Hopefully it works now. Mail merge. External table is, it worked. Data link properties, admin. Permission to view. Okay, it's in read only mode. So that was something that was happening with my file. So I'm going to do one thing. Copy, paste, but merge one. Let's see. Okay. So now this is how it must have been appearing in your system. So it is showing all the sheets that are there in the file. So I have made 2 sheets in that file. One was sheet 1, that was just having the basics. Sheet 2 was the sheet where my entire data was there. So I'm going to select sheet 2. Okay. And okay. Kiya sabne? Everyone has done this till here. किसी और के linking में issue आया? The way I faced the issue in the linking, hopefully none of you have faced the issue because my system was showing read only mode. सबका यहाँ तक हुआ? जब तक I won't get responses in the question box, how would I come to know that you people are on the same path? Okay, so once you do that, this entire list is open to you. So now what it's showing, the list of recipients, जो मेरे उस file में जितने भी list mentioned थे, so all the list is visible to here. What I've mentioned, last name, first name, addresses, city, state, country, email ID, all these things were mentioned. So I have an option available here. If I don't want to send to all of them, I have a certain checklist. Like I don't want to send to these 3, I want to send it to these 3. I can select this. If I want to send it to everyone, I can select all. By default, what the system does is that it selects all the contacts. So I said, okay. Okay, I did okay. Now what it is saying, use an existing list, ये हो गया हमारा. Next it is saying that write your letter. Now I have to write my letter. Okay. Just give me a second. Okay. Now what I want to do is that I have to write my letter. Now I have to insert my fields. The time I browsed and I select my file where it went. Now you will see all the headings which were there. Now they are visible here. The first name, last name, email ID. So wherever I want to mention whatever thing, I can drop it from this list in my letter. So after dear, what I want to write? I want to give a space. I want to write first name. Then again a space. I want to write the last name. Okay, I want to write like this. Similarly, after two, what I want to write? I want to write first name, space, last name, enter. Then I want to write his address, comma, space. Then I want to write his city, enter. Then I want to write state, comma, space, and I want to write the country. ये मुझे करना है. इतना किया सबने? That I want my letter to be sent in this format. Dear के बाद first name, last name, and after two I want the name of my vendor, his address and city. This is how I want my letter to be posted to my all vendors. Have you all done till here? Okay, so we have done till here. यहाँ तक करने के बाद next option आता है that you want to preview your letters, how your letter will look like. So let's see. यहाँ ये आपको एक दिख रहा है, मैंने ABCD करके सबके नाम डाले थे, तो GHYRW whatever, ABC the name, then the address, city, state and country. So it is appearing. So if you will click over here, recipient number 4, 5, 6, you can see the letter for everyone. Are you able to see that? सारे letters बन गए आपके पास? When I say complete the merge, so what it will, it's giving me option, I want to print. So if I'll say I want to print all. Okay. So I'm giving a command that I want to print it to PDF. If I want the printouts, I can even get the printouts. I want to save the PDF files with me. So I am saying Microsoft print to PDF. And okay, it will ask me the location. So I've already made a folder in my folder, mail merge. So I'm saving it there. Oh, sorry, I forgot to write the name. And save. So it's done over there. If I'll go there in my folder, mail merge and letters. See, I got 6 letters. You can see there are 6 pages now. This is the first letter, second letter, third, fourth, fifth. All letters are available here. Getting that, everyone? Completed in your files. Take 2 minutes. Okay. I believe इतना सबने कर लिया. Let me show you one more thing. इतना कर लिया सबने? Sorry. So what we have done till now is that we have got the PDFs file with me. So I have to print it, sign it, and then I'll courier it. Now let's suppose I have to send this as email. Now I have the email ID as well. I have to send this as an email to my vendors. I have the email ID also in that list available with me. How I'm gonna do that? Do the back button on your sheet. जो यहाँ नीचे आ रहा है. Keep on clicking on the back. You will reach on the very first thing. But you can create a new file as well. Copy and paste it. So when you come to the first sheet, we had earlier selected letters. Now I have selected email messages. I want to do email messages. आगे सब यहाँ तक? Everyone is still here? Okay. So now when you select email messages, now what is the, basically it will send email messages to a group of persons whom you want to send. Click next. Starting documents, it is using the current document. I want to use the current documents. Next, select recipients. Use an existing list. It would have given me the browse option. If nothing would have been selected earlier, it is already giving me that sheet 2S in mail merge 1 XLS is already selected. If you want to select a different file, it is giving me an option, select a different file. But I'm fine with that original list. I'm not picking up any other thing. Write your email messages. ये हमने लिख दिया था यहाँ पे, मैंने उसी पे ही काम कर रही हूँ. Otherwise I would have done it again. First name, last name, ऐसे ही मुझे वहाँ email भेजना है. And now next is, next, complete the mail merge. Go to this, click on electronic mail. Once you click on this electronic mail, in the drop down, it will ask to में क्या डालना है. So what I have to put in the to, this email ID. Then the subject line would be vendor balance confirmation as on this August 2021, and I want it in this HTML format. I can even take it as an attachment. I can take it as an HTML format. Okay. Now, MS Office works within its own softwares. So MS Word will send all mails to my MS Outlook. Hopefully, you people are using the Outlook for sending and receiving your mails. So it will directly go from here to my Outlook account. So when I press OK, see, some changes are happening over here in the sheet. So all the changes happened. Now, where I'll see my mail. So I'm going to open my Outlook account. So I've opened it. Refreshing it. So I have multiple mails coming in. So when I refresh it, I go to my sent items. See, in my sent items, there are this mail, vendor balance confirmation. If you can see, vendor balance confirmation sent on this date, this entire my mail ID, and it has been shooted to the different people. 6 mails were there, vendor balance confirmation, and all 6 have been shooted to my clients. See, Satya, another way around also, I always suggest professionals that you should always use Outlook as compared to your normal Gmail accounts. Your Gmail account can get configured over here, like my personal website account is configured on my Outlook account, and even my Gmail account is configured over here. It's forwarded over here. So it's very easy to work, and MS Office, this Outlook is the best software you can work upon. So I have sent the mail. Now the mail IDs were just fabricated mail IDs. See, I have received a lot of mails regarding that delivery failure. Obviously, I have to receive it. Getting it? So this is how your mail merge works. Okay. So here we are finishing with our mail merge topic. Hopefully, you can now do multiple. If you want to get the printouts, you can get the printouts. If you want soft copies, and through email, you can do that. ठीक है, आगे बढ़ते हैं आज की क्लास में. Okay, आज की क्लास की working sheet, I am dropping it on the handouts part. सबको मिल गया? Has everybody received it? ठीक है? Okay. So आज हमारा सबसे पहला टॉपिक है pivots. We are going to start working with pivots. कोई मुझे बताएगा that why pivots, why not filters? हम filters कर चुके हैं. We can get the information we want to see through filters as well. Then why the hell we had the requirement to have pivots. So summary of data as per the requirements, then we can get it through filters as well. Why a pivot? So somehow you are right, Satyan. We can get what we are getting through pivot in filters also. But if I have to go into filters, I have to apply filters, I have to apply sorting, I have to apply subtotals. Then I'll get the specific information which I want, but through pivots, I can get it directly. So it's the ease of work and saving of time if I'm doing through pivots. So other people as well, बाकी भी जवाब देंगे. What exactly do you think pivots are? So Nilesh is saying to create summary sheet. Satyan is telling me that large data is converted into summarized data. Murthy ji can get any specific row and column as per our requirement. I did not get Murthy ji, what you are trying to say, specific rows or columns? Basically, what pivot is going to do is that, agreed, whatever you people are saying, it's summary. Basically, whatever the data is available with you, that data is a detailed data. Now, what I want to do is that out of that detailed data, I just want to see the summary. Summary may be of anything, like if I'll talk about this given data. So in this data, I have name of the employees, I have the region information, I have the kind of service information, date of rendering of services, charges, and GST. So let's suppose this data would have been for 5 years or 3 years. It would have gone into what? 5,000 rows, 6,000 rows. Now what I want to judge region wise where I'm profiteering, then year wise where I'm making more profit, or quarter wise where I'm doing more profit, right? So I want to get a summary out of my entire detailed data. So in that thing, basically pivot is a useful tool available to me. Okay. So let's start. Open your very first sheet in your Excel file that I've sent across to you. So in the very first sheet, I am within the data. Now I have to apply a pivot. The shortcut is Alt NVT. Sorry, Alt NVT. So I'm within the data. I am into this shortcut that create pivot table. So I'm selecting the data range. For this particular data, I have to create a pivot table. Now it is asking me a question that where do you want to have the pivot table in a new worksheet? You want it to be printed in a new worksheet, or do you want it to have this pivot table in an existing worksheet? So I've already made this sheet basic pivot to work upon in this particular sheet. So I am saying existing worksheet location. I'm going to this basic pivot and going and saying okay. So once I do okay, what will happen is that I'll get this pivot table chart over here, and then there are pivot table fields, the different fields. इसको एक बार analyze करते हैं. What are these pivot table fields? So these are row headings. What do you want in the row headings? This is your column headings. What do you want to appear in your column headings? Values, summation values. Whatever data you want to get represented in rows or columns, the values for those headings. What would be the values? The values can be any kind. It could be summation, it could be count, it could be average, min, max, anything. Then there are filters. So in your entire data, this is the superlative degree. I always call these filters as a superlative degree. Filter के ऊपर filter. So you summarized your data, and then what you want after the summarization of the data, you want a superpower over your data, that if you want to give the biggest filter, you can give it. We'll see how we are going to do that. So let's suppose I want to see in the row headings the different kind of services being rendered by me. So I have the different kind of services, and then I want to see the charges total. Okay, so I'm getting it. We will rectify it. Just give me a minute. We will rectify this. So there are the row labels. We are talking about the different kind of services being rendered and what were the total charges we have got. So this was a huge data, and we got a summarized return or detail of that data in terms of the kind of services being rendered. Now what I want is that I want to see this result only, but I want to see only for a particular region. I have kept over there 4 regions: north, south, east, west. I want to see only for north. I want to see only for south. This is not my requirement. So this is the superlative filter in my data. So what I'll do, I'll take this region and drop it over here in the filter box. ये सबको आता होगा. I think this is something very basic and everyone knows. Dropping your headings into these 4 boxes, fields. So I dragged it. I dragged region and kept it here. Okay. So now what currently it is showing? It is showing me all regions. So there is a drop down. I can go over there and I want to say only for east. Okay. So now these are the details for the east region. Similarly, if I want to see only for south, so this is for south. I want to select multiple items. I want to see for east and south. I selected on select multiple items, east and south. Okay. Everyone did that. Everyone tried in their systems. अभी हम साथ में ये देखते हैं. So there is some error in my data. Why I am getting 2 consultancy? I should not have got that. What I believe, this was some error. I have done it. Let's just rectify it. So now what has happened? It is similar consultancy everywhere, but still I am seeing 2 consultancy. It is still not rectified. Why? मैंने यहाँ तो अपने सोर्स डेटा में ठीक कर दिया ना, तो यहाँ क्यों नहीं ठीक किया है इसने? Anyone? Anyone from you? Okay. So Sheetal and Ashwini, you both are right. Refresh. So what exactly is the process of your pivots? So once you make a pivot, it is working on the original data. If you are making any kind of changes in your original data, the same will be reflected in the pivot only when you will refresh your pivot. If you won't refresh your pivot, it will show the wrong data. So this refreshing, though it appears to be a very small task in this entire pivoting, but it is a very important task. So we will discuss next week. I'll show you how GST summary tables are made. So once you will see that my GST summary tables, so when I take the summary out of my elaborate data, my detailed data, if I make any changes in my detailed data, whatever summary I am getting, and I am picking out the data from my summary sheet to my GST or 3B sheet, अगर मैंने उसे refresh नहीं किया, for sure shot, I'm going to put up wrong data in my 3B returns. And this has happened. People, seriously, this has happened with me. Till date, I would say 4 or 5 times it has happened. I have seen that my staff forgot to click on the refresh button and we ended up paying wrong taxes. So how to refresh? Go to this pivot table, analyze. Once you are in pivot table, these 2 boxes, these 2 toolbars open, and I'm going to click on refresh. So there are 2 refresh and refresh all. If there would have been multiple pivot tables over here, so I would have pressed refresh all, but it's only one pivot table, so I'm just pressing refresh. So as soon as I did refresh, now it's only one consultancy as a row heading rather than two consultancy, which was earlier appearing. Getting it? ठीक है? आगे चलते हैं. Yeah, Ashwini, that is also an option available, but I was not like to get into that depth. We can do it through this particular button as well, right? So now, next is, अब आप मुझे करके दिखाएंगे. You will show me from this data only. I want the data on this sheet, and what I want, I just want to see count of name करना है, मतलब हर बंदे ने कितनी बार सर्विस रेंडर करी है. Every person has rendered services how many times? I want to see that. I want to see the count. Take 2 minutes, फटाफट से on the third sheet. I want that answer. And करते you need to write it in the question box how you have done that. और एक और चीज सत्यन जी जो आपने किया that is an option, but what I want is that I don't want to use any values. You are using the values. Okay. So people are coming out with multiple options to do the same. Good to see that. Okay, चलो एक बारी मैं करके दिखाती हूँ. Just people give me a second, just 1 second. Sorry for the interruption. So मैं इस पे फिर से लगा रही हूँ पिवट. एक बार मैं देखती हूँ कैसे करें, जैसे आप सब ने किया. दैट वाज अ लेंदी, थोड़ा सा लेंदी वे. उसका एक सिंपल ऑप्शन, मैं यहाँ आई एंड आई पेस्टेड एंड हैव माय पिवट. सो व्हाट आई एम गोइंग टू डू इज दैट नेम ऑफ एम्प्लॉय यहाँ डाला. आप सब ने, किसी ने चार्जेस लिया, किसी ने जीएसटी लिया. मैंने क्या किया, उसी को यहाँ डाल दिया. पिवट में बाय डिफॉल्ट क्या होता है, if the data is a text field, it by default takes it under the option count. I am not required to go under the option value field settings and change the summation to count. I would have been using some charges, GST, or date of rendering of service. All these are numbers, right? So a more easier way to do this. ठीक है. अब next sheet पे क्या है, what I've kept on next sheet, that I want the region count. So now I'm not again go on back on the same sheet and again do pivot table pasting. What I'll do is that I'll just go, selected my pivot table, copy, coming here, paste. Just that I'm going to change the things and I'm going to get the answer. मैंने दोबारा pivot नहीं लगाया, copy paste किया pivot table. So if you copy paste the pivot table, the original pivot table will remain the way it is. and in the new pivot table you can have your different data. Okay, do it ASAP. 30 seconds more. Done, people? Okay. So now my next tab says region count into name. So what I'm trying to say with is that I tried a lot of shortcut to write. Might be people are not able to get. Now what I want, now in this sheet, I'm getting the region count. That in every region, what was my number of times the work has been performed. Now I want region wise and name wise. I want the bifurcated data. So region and then subdivision into the name. I want that kind of data. So वो हम कैसे करेंगे? Again, I'm copying the same pivot and I'm reaching to this sheet, pasting it. So what difference I'm going to make is that now I want region wise. This is a required field, but I want it to be subdivided into what? Name wise. So this is a subdivision. So I'm taking the name of the employee and dropping it below the rows. So what I've got? I have got the same data, but now East is divided into B, C, D, F. B, C, D, F have worked. B ने 2 बारी किया, C ने 2 बारी किया, एक बार D ने 1 बारी. ऐसे नॉर्थ में, साउथ में, वेस्ट में. ये मेरे पास बाइफरकेट होके आ गया है. ठीक है? दिस इज सब डिविजन. इसको मैं अगर नेम ऑफ एम्प्लॉय को ऊपर कर दूंगी तो वो पहले एम्प्लॉय का डिविजन दिखाएगा कि किस रीजन में उसने क्या क्या किया है. नाउ दिस इज एम्प्लॉय वाइज. So employee is the major heading and region is the subheading. It depends upon the priority list, the number at which you have placed the heading. Accordingly, it will work. चलो आगे चलते हैं. Now again I am copying. So let's take, or instead let's do one thing. Go on your data sheet, copy the data, come on this design tab. ठीक है, यहाँ के आप उसे पेस्ट कर दीजिए. What I want is that I have to take out certain data, summary results from this sheet only, but I have a certain specified format which you people need to work upon. So what kind of format? So let's suppose I want to see region, then I want to see kind of service, and then I want to see charges. But charges का format क्या होगा? पहले डॉलर का साइन आना चाहिए और फिर चार्जेस आने चाहिए. whatever the charges are. मुझे इस फॉर्मेट में डेटा चाहिए. Same format. There should be no difference. The region, then kind of service, and then charges, and then the figures should be in dollar. How we are gonna do that? So I'm again going on my data. Alt NVT. I'm applying my filters. Existing worksheet. I want the data in the existing worksheet. Sorry. And okay. Okay. So now what I want region. First there should be region, then kind of service, and then charges. So I'm taking regions. Then I want kind of service. And then I want charges totals to be here. Sum of charges. I had these. ठीक है? But अभी तो कुछ फर्क है. What I actually wanted as compared to what I have got. So we are going to work upon certain formatting things. तो मैं इसके design tab पे जब जाती हूँ, so as soon as I am within a pivot table, these two another table gets opened. What are these two tables? Pivot table, analyze, and design table. So design table mein you have these multiple options, whatever colors, formatting you want, you can change it. See, these are so many options available. Let's suppose I want in this particular option. So I've selected that. Okay. Then what I want is that this report layout. This is a compact form outlet. This is the outline form. If you want to be in the outline form, the best form is show in a tabular form. I always like this as the best one to be represented whenever I'm working upon a pivot table, the tabular form. So I choose that, show in tabular form. See, this somehow also appears similar to what I have asked for. Okay. इतना आ गया, बट अब मुझे ये ईस्ट का टोटल, नॉर्थ का टोटल, साउथ का टोटल सबका दिखा रहा है, मुझे ये सब टोटल्स नहीं चाहिए. तो इसके लिए क्या है, सब टोटल्स में यू हैव दिस ऑप्शन दैट डू नॉट शो सब टोटल्स, या सारे सॉरी show all subtotals at the bottom of the group or at the top of the group. So if I say do not show, तो वो किसी का भी नहीं दिखाएगा. If I'll say at the top of the group, bottom of the group, तो bottom में दिखाएगा. Top पे दिखा नहीं रहा है. Some errors. South total, west total. I have to see what error. Then it is there for grand totals. You want to see the grand totals or not? I don't want to see the grand totals, so I have even kept the grand totals off for rows and columns. You can off it for rows and columns, only for rows or only for columns, whatever you want to do that. Okay. Now my next requirement was, अब जैसे यहाँ ये ईस्ट आ रहा है, इसके आगे प्लस माइनस आ रहा है, मुझे ये भी नहीं चाहिए. I'm not liking it. So I have this option. Pivot table analyze में आएंगे, ये option होता है आपका plus minus buttons का. If I click on that, see, I'm not able to see that plus minus buttons on my these options, region options. ये भी नहीं यहाँ पे दिख रहा है. Field list, ये यहाँ पे ये गायब हो जाता है. If I click on it, it will again appear. Field headers, if I want the field headers to be not to be there, I can just click on it, and again clicking on it, they become available. They are visible to us. Plus minus. उसके बाद हम बात कर रहे थे डॉलर्स की. यहाँ आए हम सम ऑफ चार्जेस में. वैल्यू फील्ड सेटिंग्स, मुझे यहाँ चाहिए था सम ही आ रहा है, बट यहाँ मुझे ये फॉर्मेट दूसरा चाहिए. सो आई क्लिक्ड ऑन नंबर फॉर्मेट. I went on this currency. I want dollars. So let's take English United States, and I don't want decimal places. And okay. And I press okay. So now all my numbers are in dollars. Similarly, अब मुझे यहाँ पे ये बाय डिफॉल्ट सिस्टम अपने आप लिख के देता है सम ऑफ चार्जेस, काउंट ऑफ चार्जेस. मुझे ये सब नहीं चाहिए, सम ऑफ चार्जेस या काउंट ऑफ चार्जेस. आई हैव टू जस्ट राइट whatever I want to write. Let's suppose I want to write income. मुझे इतना लिखना है बस. So again, value field settings. If I want to custom name, I can custom it. Sum of charges की जगह मैंने लिखा या receipts लिख देती हूँ. Receipts and okay. So now यहाँ क्या ऊपर लिखा आ गया? Receipts. I can even customize that. ठीक है? सबने कर लिया इतना? ये हट गया मूर्ति जी, the question you were asking. So if I remove the field headers, even the filter tabs have also gone. Similarly, plus minus button. Let's take another 1 minute and complete it in our own systems. Header changing, Murthy ji, very simple. Now I have written receipts. Now I don't even want to receipts. I want to write net receipts. So I'll go there, summation values, where my total was there, drop it down. Value field settings, custom name, and I want to write it as net receipts. Okay, and okay. So I can change the column heading in this sense. Let's move ahead. सबने इतना कर लिया? Another 30 seconds, people. ओके चलो आगे चलते हैं आप। तो इसके बाद ये छोड़ देना, pivot when formats nothing similarly. Pivot to nested. So nested is something similar what we have done, just to show it to you again that what exactly nesting is. If I want heading, subheading, then subheading, so I can have this nesting done for me. So let's suppose I want to see a pivot with the same region and kind of service. Both to be shown, this kind of nesting I'm done. So I'm doing it very fastly. It's something that we have done. So selected the data, existing worksheet, pasting it here. Okay. So I want region wise, and then kind of service, and I want to see the charges. Okay. And I'm going to change the design. I want to take it in the tabular form, and I don't want the subtotals. So this is how I'm doing my nesting thing. I can do sub nesting. इसके आगे भी और nesting कर सकती हूँ if it is such a requirement of mine. ठीक है? ये हम कर चुके, just a repetition, nothing more. Nesting thing. आगे चलते हैं. ये आप कर लेना अपने आप अपनी sheets में. I'm moving ahead. अब ये आप लोग just take 2 minutes. What I want is that आप मुझे kind of service wise हम data बनाएंगे. 4 कॉलम्स में मुझे उसके चार्जेस का डेटा चाहिए, काउंट, मिनिमम, मैक्स एंड एवरेज. वैल्यू फील्ड ऑप्शंस आई एम सीइंग एवरीवन नोज. कोई ऐसा है जिसको नहीं आता वैल्यू फील्ड ऑप्शंस? अभी तक बाय डिफॉल्ट चार्जेस वाला कॉलम जो है वो मुझे सम दिखा रहा है. मुझे सम नहीं चाहिए, मुझे या तो काउंट चाहिए उसका, या मुझे मिनिमम वैल्यू चाहिए, या मैक्सिमम वैल्यू चाहिए, और ये एवरेज वैल्यू. डू इट ऑन योर सिस्टम्स. चलो, आई एम ऑल्सो डूइंग अलोंग विद यू नाउ. So what I said, I said kind of service I want. Now what I want to see, again there is an issue with the data has to be corrected. So I want to see the charges. So I have taken 2 charges right now. So what I went into value field settings. What I want to see first is count, and I said okay. So I'm seeing the count of charges. Now in the second, I want to see the max and min. So I'm going for minimum of charges. Then I again want charges, and this time I want to see the max, and I again want the charges, and I want to see the average. इसका नाम भी चेंज कर देते हैं साथ के साथ, बाकियों का तो हमने चेंज किया नहीं. Average charges. Okay, so got that. इसमें आऊंगी मैक्स ऑफ चार्जेस का नाम अगर मुझे करना है मैक्सिमम चार्ज. मिनिमम में अगर मैं आऊंगी सो आई वांट टू चेंज minimum charge. इसका मैं चेंज कर सकती हूँ charges charged, anything you can write. ठीक है, डन कर लिया सबने इतना. Okay, should I move forward? Last thing before the break, please wake up people. Okay, अब मुझे क्या चाहिए डेटा. अब हमारे पास डेट ऑफ रेंडरिंग ऑफ सर्विसेज भी है, राइट. आई वांट टू सी द चार्जेस charged month wise and year wise. So year wise would be my first heading, and then I want it as month wise also. Getting it? इसको हम कैसे करेंगे, एनी आइडिया? क्योंकि अगर मैं यहाँ स्टार्ट करती हूँ पिवट बनाना, if I'll take this, okay, so I am taking date of rendering of service over here, okay, and charges here. ये तो क्वार्टर वाइज और ऐसे जा रहा है, और ये व्हाट आई एम इज लाइक इस तरह का ग्रुपिंग बाय डिफॉल्ट ये आपका एमएस ऑफिस आई थिंक 13, 16, 365 इनमें आता है. अगर आपका एमएस ऑफिस 10, 7 उससे पुराना है तो उसमें नहीं आएगा, वहां डेट्स आ जाएंगी आपकी सारी लिखी हुई. ओके, सो अगर वैसे आ रहा है, नाउ व्हाट आई वांट इज दैट आई वांट I'll ungroup it. So once I press ungroup, I did right click and did ungroup. तो ये सारी डेट्स मेरे पास लिखी हुई आ गई. जिनके पास एमएस ऑफिस लेस देन एमएस ऑफिस 13 है उनके पास यही डेटा आया होगा जब उन्होंने डेट ऑफ रेंडरिंग सर्विसेज को यहाँ लगाया और फिर यहाँ समेशन ऑफ चार्जेस को लिया. अब मेरे पास ये डेटा है. नाउ व्हाट आई वांट डेटा टू बी बाइफिकेटेड ईयर वाइज एंड month wise. Okay, तो मैं यहाँ गई, आई एम गोइंग ऑन ग्रुप, आई एम टेलिंग इट कि मुझे मंथ वाइज डेटा चाहिए. स्टार्टिंग डेट एंड डेट उसने बाय डिफॉल्ट जो सबसे पहली डेट है वो उठा ली और एंडिंग डेट लगा ली. सो आई एम सेइंग ओके, सो आई हैव गॉट नाउ द मंथ्स, बट आई डोंट नो विच मंथ रिलेट्स टू विच ईयर, क्योंकि यहाँ पे तो मेरा 3 साल का डेटा था. सो ये तो ओनली मंथ्स आ गए. सो हाउ टू डू? नाउ आई वांट टू हैव months as well, years as well, right? So I'll again go on this, I'll again press. So second time I'm going for grouping. Once I did grouping with months, now I've again pressed group and said years and okay. See, so this is how I'll get the data divided into years with months, years and months. What I did, right click, grouping, first months, Then I went for years. The way you want to, subgroupings, it was done in the system. आया सबको समझ में? Take another 1 minute and try it in your own systems. Okay. Okay. So I think many people are confused in this. So let's do one thing. I am deleting this pivot. Again, I am inserting the pivot. Existing sheet. Pressing here and okay. Now I want the pivots to be made on the basis of date of rendering of service. So I just went there and I did ungroup so that I can have the data as per the older Excel version as well, because these are the smarter ones. And I want the charges total in this summation column. Okay. Now I want the bifurcation as year wise and month wise. I went there, right click, group and months. Okay. So first I got the data bifurcated month wise, but I'm not able to judge this January is relating to which particular year. So I again went over there. I pressed group and pressed on years. So now this is year, months, year and months. Getting it? Nilesh, the question which you are asking, don't do bifurcation month wise, just first do ungrouping and then you can go ahead with year wise grouping only. Then you will get the data year wise. No, Nilesh, by default, these MS Office system works on this basically by default. This is calendar year. This is not your financial year. कैलेंडर ईयर का डेटा आप कैसे फाइनेंशियल ईयर में लेके जाते हो ये अभी हम करेंगे कल आई विल शो यू हाउ फ्रॉम द गिवन डेट्स यू कैन मेक योर फाइनेंशियल कैलेंडर ईयर टू अ फाइनेंशियल ईयर और मैं नहीं करूंगी आप लोग ही करोगे आई जस्ट टेल यू हाउ टू डू दैट इतना हुआ सबका ओके जितने बाकी लोग कर रहे हैं ब्रेक से पहले अगेन आई एम कमिंग बैक टू माय इनिशियल क्वेश्चन व्हिच आई आस्क्ड एट द बिगिनिंग ऑफ द सेशन किसी और का कोई और चीज जो वो चाहता हो कि अगले वीकेंड जो हमारी क्लासेस हो they want to see that particular thing practically how to incorporate that in Excel anything which is in your mind people beyond tally anything else see people your inputs will make things easier for me I'll come up with the examples and practical things according to what exactly you want to see okay so Nilesh is saying I want to work on carry forward amount monthly basis for next financial year if I have a carry forward period from 1st April 2020 and the amount is this. I want to bifurcate rupees this monthly basis. अब sorry नीलेश थोड़ा सा इसको और explain करोगे अपने query को it is sounding interesting. So what carry forward? What exactly carry forward? Is it losses or it is your balance of the ledgers or this is something your कुछ regular data है कोई ledger data है what data it is? So it is a carry forward amount of your AMC contract. So you have a AMC contract. Nilesh, do one thing, if possible, go on the advanced Excel forum. I want your this query to be typed properly. Take 5 minutes to type exactly what do you want to see on that portal. That would be a correct area to discuss your this query. Then I'll take it in the class in front of everyone. So consolidate balance sheets are there, consolidation of trial balance. This is all from you people. Yeah, Nilesh, post it anytime. I'm going to work on this next week only after tomorrow's class. Okay. So I'm not getting any other input from you people. तो ठीक है अभी हम ब्रेक लेते हैं आफ्टर ब्रेक विल स्टार्ट इट इज 7:27 so we will meet back at 7:40 exactly थोड़ा आज हमारा ब्रेक लेट हो रहा है ओके जल्दी से चाय पियेंगे और वापस आएंगे So are we all back? Let's continue with the class ahead. Okay. So in this sheet, we have done till this pivot grouping. Grouping समझ में आ गया. अब इसके आगे चलते हैं. Next is slicer. Slicer, I believe सबने सुन रखा है. Slicer लगाना आता है. Latest, I think this is a kind of latest attribute or characteristics of Excel which has been added in the latest versions only. Nothing, कुछ नहीं है slicer में. Slicer के basis पे ही dashboard है. Dashboard is a combination of your slicers, pivot and charts. तब आप जाके एक अपना डैशबोर्ड क्रिएट कर सकते हो. तो आज हम पिवट्स और चार्ट्स कर रहे हैं, तो कल हम जब ये बेसिक नॉलेज आ जाएगा तो हम डैशबोर्ड भी क्रिएट कर लेंगे, राइट? तो पिवट स्लाइड से स्टार्ट करते हैं इससे. आई होप एवरीवन इज बैक. People respond in the question box. Okay. So इसमें मैं दोबारा गई and I'm again making a pivot in the table. And I am pasting it here. So in the pivot, what I want is that I want the data to be bifurcated. Let's take it as region wise and I want the charts. ठीक है, इसको थोड़ा सा सही कर लेते हैं. सारे regions वो एक ही डेटा कॉपी पेस्ट हुआ है, तो that is why the error is there. Okay, so this is my data. Now what I want to insert a slicer on this data. So I am on my pivot and I'm saying pivot table analyze this particular toolbar which has got opened. And that I'm going to select on insert slicer. Now it is asking me on this data what kind of slicer do you want. अभी हम single slicer लाएंगे, multiple slicers पे अभी हम आएंगे. So I want this slicer to be there on the basis of the region. I have the data service wise, but I want to see the जो हम पहले उसमें लगा रहे थे जब हम फिल्टर्स की बात करते हैं या सुपर हेडिंग. So a slicer, through that slicer I am giving that thing only, that I want to see the region wise data. So as I pressed OK, so what has happened, it has given me the all available regions, whatever are the available regions. So I want to see only for the east. Now my pivot is showing the data only for the east. Similarly for north, so north, south for south, west for west. I can over here then eliminate it. If I want to see for multiple, press control, so you are able to select two. East and north both are selected. You will unpress it. Like if you want to select one, सिर्फ one press हो रहा है. आप इसको एक बार press कर दोगे, you can select multiple. यहाँ press कर दोगे तो filters हट जाएंगे, clear filters. So accordingly you will see the data. Getting it? अब इसके अलावा यहाँ पे ये ऑप्शन होते हैं, जैसे ही आप अपने स्लाइसर पे हो, you have opened the slicer, now another toolbar has got opened, that is the slicer toolbar. पहले इतना करा सबने. Is everyone able to insert a slicer in their pivots? ठीक है. अब ये जो स्लाइसर है इसकी भी थोड़ी सी हम फॉर्मेटिंग देख लें. वी हैव मल्टीपल ऑप्शंस टू चेंज इट्स फॉर्मेटिंग. Let's suppose I want this slicer in 2 columns. So over here, if I'll press 2 columns, so I'll see the slicer in 2 columns. It depends upon your dashboard presentation, what kind of dashboard, like I want to have multiple slicers over here. I want to place it in this design. I can do it like that. I can have 3 columns as well, 4, 2 is looking good. I want to change the height of each cell. So accordingly, height can be changed. Width can be changed. Then height of your this can be even done from here. It can be done from here as well. Getting it? You can change the formatting from here. Similarly, if you want your slicer to have these colors, you can change the colors as well, right? Now you want to change the slicer heading. You can change the slicer heading here, slicer caption. I want to write is at area. It will get changed to area. So everyone able to do that? ठीक है? आगे चलते हैं? Should I move ahead? Now what I want to have multiple slicer on the same data. So again I have came next sheet पे आ जाएंगे multiple pivot slicer. Again I am inserting a pivot in my data. Sorry. So I've got this my pivot table. Again, I am saying I want to represent it. Let's take it. I want to represent it kind of service. I'm again taking it kind of service. So I've taken kind of service. Then I've taken this charges. Now this is my pivot table available to me. Now I'm again inserting a slicer, and in the slicer one I want for region. Okay. So I'm getting the slicer for the region. And again want to insert a slicer. Now I want the slicer on the basis of the name of employee. So I have another slicer available with me. So now what has happened? So I am able to see the data on the basis of total services rendered. Now what I want to see is that I want to see only for East region, and that too for employee B. So the data visible to me is for East region, and that too only for employee B. Getting it? Now I want to see only for the South region, and it is showing for employee B. So in the South, employee B has rendered only the ROC services. If we'll talk about E, E has rendered the consultancy services. So I have multiple slicers on the same pivot. Now what I want, इतना किया सबने, 2 slicers लगाए अपने डेटा पे. thoda sa today I'm taking it slow, but I believe this is the correct speed. You all are able to work on the data along with me. सबने लगाए दोनों स्लाइसर्स? ओके, ठीक है। अब इन स्लाइसर्स की भी कुछ आपकी फॉर्मेटिंग है, कुछ इसकी अंडरस्टैंडिंग है। लेट्स सी दैट। नाउ व्हाट आई वांट इज दैट, अब जब मैं यहाँ पे देखती हूँ, I want to see the connections. So it has connection with pivot table 11. ठीक है, एक ही टेबल के साथ स्लाइसेस का हमारा कनेक्शन है। Now what I want, let's suppose मैं इसको कॉपी करके एक और पिवट टेबल यहाँ ले आती हूँ। अब you will be able to see, sorry, that my slicers have connection with, this slicer has a connection with two pivot tables, pivot table 11 and pivot table 12 in my sheet. Now I want it should have connection with pivot table 12 only. So I went into the report connections और pivot table 11 को मैंने अनचेक कर दिया। अब मैं इसको अनचेक करूंगी, अगर मैं इस स्लाइसर में चेंज करूंगी तो देखो सिर्फ नीचे वाली टेबल में चेंजेस हो रहे हैं, ऊपर वाली टेबल में चेंजेस नहीं हो रहे हैं। Because now what I have given the direction that this slicer will work on this particular table only, not on all the tables. So I can restrict the functioning of a slicer through this tab report connections. Okay. Similar to that, let's suppose अगर ये slicer ऐसे है, I want to see this slicer ऊपर and this slicer नीचे, bring forward. This is an option available to you. You can accordingly paste up your slicers. Then there is this selection pane. You want to see, you don't want to see, name of employee, you can hide it. ऐसे आपके features आपके Photoshop में होते हैं, आपके काफी features. This is, I think, align top, align middle, the way you want to. This is just the presentation. See, this presentation matters for your dashboard thing, because in a dashboard it's a single sheet and you have to fix up each and everything on that sheet, right? So you can group it. Now it will become, now it has become one particular slicer, multiple slicers grouped into one, but still they are working together. So I did it through this grouping thing. Okay, किया सबने इतना? Everyone done up to this point? Should I move ahead? Okay, so I'm now moving ahead. Slicers done. Now it's pivot table timeline. Now I want to see on the basis of the timeline, the date of rendering of service. I want to see the data according to that. दोबारा से चलते हैं अपने pivot table के अंदर. Pivot table लगाते हैं हम यहाँ पे. So what my data है? So I have this data. Now what I want again region wise, and I want the charges. Now what I want to insert a timeline slicer, timeline on this. and click on this insert timeline. Date of rendering of services, by default it will take that because this is the only option available in terms of date. When I talk about timeline, it only has to be the date functions, date of rendering of service, and okay. So now this is again a kind of slicer only, I would say, which is available to me. It is यहाँ पे आप देखोगे यहाँ आपका dragging है, ये आपका horizontal and horizontal dragging है, ये आप पूरा देख सकते हो. Let's suppose I want to see the data for this July 21, nothing, August. I want to select multiple, तो control दबा के I can shift दबा के I can select multiple. इसमें कोई डेटा ही नहीं है यहाँ पे, यहाँ इसमें डेटा है दिसंबर 2020 में. जैसे जैसे डेटा उसमें आता जा रहा है, इट इज एडिंग इट ऑन. अब मुझे मंथ वाइज नहीं देखना, आई हैव टू सी क्वार्टर वाइज. I can see this quarter wise data, right? I want to see year wise, so year options are available to me. Getting it? ये थ्रू आप टाइमलाइन स्लाइसर ये सब चीजें यहाँ पे डाल सकते हो, और इसमें भी वही आपके सेम फंक्शंस अवेलेबल है. यू वांट टू हैव द टाइम लेवल, जो यहाँ पे आ रहा था नहीं चाहिए, चाहिए स्क्रॉल बार, चाहिए नहीं चाहिए, यू कैन मेक योर स्लाइसर द वे यू वांट टू अपीयर. सिमिलरली इसकी हाइट बढ़ानी है, विड्थ बढ़ानी है, आप वैसे भी कर सकते हो. ये आपके वही अलाइनमेंट, फॉरवर्ड बैकवर्ड सिलेक्शन पेन अगर मेरे मल्टीपल होते हैं. सिमिलरली आई वांट टू चेंज द कलर्स, the kind of presentation I am giving. Similar report connections जैसे आपके slide, similar to that you have this report connections कि आपको कौन कौन से पे वर्क कराना है, किस डेटाबेस को आपको वर्क नहीं कराना है. ठीक है, everyone done with this date of rendering of this timeline slicer? ठीक है, आगे चलते हैं. अब हम यहाँ आगे चलते हैं. अगर अब ये वही मेरा पिवट है, और इस पिवट के डेटा के बेसिस पे अब मुझे चार्ट्स चाहिए. So how to do that? Again, I am inserting a pivot on my data. So again, I have a pivot, and again I am taking on the basis of, let's take it on the basis of region only and charges. I've taken that. Now on that basis, what I am doing is that now I want to have a pivot chart. So this is the option available, pivot chart. I clicked on that. It is giving me option what kind of pivot chart you want to have. By default, always the chart always gives you the column function. You can select column if you want to. Let's suppose I want to go ahead with the column only, and okay. So now I have this pivot chart available with me. So now this is the pivot chart. चार्ट्स अभी हम इन डेप्थ में करेंगे जब अभी हम चार्ट्स शुरू करेंगे. उससे पहले यहाँ पे आप देखोगे पिवट चार्ट्स में ये आपके पास ऑप्शन है. यहाँ पे आपके पास सेम फिल्टर वाले ऑप्शंस विजिबल हो जाते हैं. That you want to see for all the regions, you want to see for north only. So my pivot chart will function according to that. It will show me the data for the north only. If you want to see for 2 regions, it will show me the data for the 2 regions. It will keep on changing. ठीक है, तो आप अपने पिवट के बेसिस के उसके ऊपर आप चार्ट भी लगा सकते हैं. सबने लगा लिया अपने डेटा के ऊपर चार्ट, पिवट के ऊपर चार्ट? आगे चले हम सब। एक मिनट पीपल, 30 सेकेंड्स, फटाफट से करेंगे इसे। ओके, नाउ लेट्स स्टार्ट विद द चार्ट फंक्शन। तो अभी तक जो हमने किया, दैट वाज अ representation of your data in the data form only, where you have written the numbers and the text only. Now, if you want to represent your data in a pictorial form, so what exactly we follow? We follow the charts. So there are multiple kind of charts. If you will see this sheet, the chart sheet, it talks about the multiple kind of chart types that we are going to study: column chart, pie chart, bar chart, XY scatter chart. Then you have the spark lines formatting. Then there are multiple elements if I talk about a chart. ये जो elements है, अभी हम जैसे ही chart यहाँ पे insert करेंगे, we'll talk about that. Just let's go through the names once. So what, there is a chart area, then there is a plot area, the area on which your chart is plotted. Then there is a series, the data series, which is visible over there. Then the data labels. So whatever the data is appearing, उस data का नाम क्या है? That is the heading of the data. Then vertical and horizontal axis. So obviously you represent your data vertically and horizontally. So what is the axis and what is the names? Grid lines, the bifurcation कि भाई जो चार्ट पे आप जो दिखा रहे हो 10-10 के गैप पे दिखा रहे हो, 100 के गैप पे दिखा रहे हो, lakhs के गैप पे दिखा रहे हो. So that gap is represented through grid lines. There are two kind of grid lines, major grid lines and minor grid lines. जैसे आप एक स्केल में देखते हो सेंटीमीटर्स होते हैं, तो सेंटीमीटर्स आर योर मेजर ग्रिड लाइंस एंड मिलीमीटर्स आर योर माइनर ग्रिड लाइंस. एंड देन देयर इज चार्ट टाइटल, आपके चार्ट का हेडिंग क्या है, व्हाट एग्जैक्टली इज द चार्ट रिप्रेजेंटिंग. ओके, ठीक है. सो लेट्स गो इनटू आवर डेटा. फर्स्ट शीट, चार्ट इंसर्ट. सो आई हैव मेड अ स्मॉल डेटा फॉर यू. So this is basically the expenses incurred by the multiple teams: operations, support, marketing, sales, and procurement, 5 teams, and for the different financial years. So we have the expenditure data, and in this data, I have to insert a chart. So now this is the shortcut for inserting the chart: Alt plus F1. So you have to insert a chart, just press Alt plus F1, and in the data, you will insert your chart. Okay, just a second, people. So this is how the chart, by default, the system generally takes the column chart. So by default, my chart is appearing over here. So I inserted a chart, it is showing a column chart. Now what exactly is the column chart? have this financial year wise data, financial year 18-19, 19-20, all the financial year. These are the multiple departments. Unka expenditure, and the expenditure has been shown in this format. So this is your chart title. This is your entire, the selected area is your chart. Obviously, Satyen, you can paste your chart in a PPT, just copy and paste. You can easily paste it anywhere you want to. Word files, PPT, you can do the pasting. So now if I want to change the chart title, let's first see what exactly are the areas. So this is the total area is your chart title. Then this area is your plot area where your plotting is done. These are your data series where the data is mentioned. These are your horizontal axis labels. These are your vertical axis labels. These are your data series labels. These are your grid lines, major grid lines. और अगर मैं यहाँ minor grid lines दिखाना चाहूँ तो मैं वो भी दिखा सकती हूँ. Now this kind of version is given by MS Office 13, 16 and your 365 this, where these tools are visible to you and these are very helpful tools. So once you click on plus, it will show that what all elements are visible. If you want to make these elements invisible or you want to show the other elements, you can represent it like data labels. So what data labels exactly do? जो आपकी डेटा सीरीज आ रही है, ये क्या नंबर्स हैं, ये जो ये वाले नंबर्स हैं वो भी यहाँ पे ये रिप्रेजेंट कर सकते हैं हम. So this is making my data very messy, so I am removing it. I want to have a trend line. अब ये पूछ रहा है आपको ट्रेंड लाइन किस सीरीज के बेसिस पे चाहिए. लेट्स सपोज आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट मार्केटिंग, सो इट विल गिव मी अ ट्रेंड लाइन. सो मार्केटिंग इज व्हाट, दिस ग्रे. सो ये ग्रे वाले का उसने एक ट्रेंड शो किया है मुझे. I don't want it, I can remove it. Then there are colors, the different colors, the different options, formatting which is visible to me, the style and the colors it is showing. Like I want to, like I don't want to change the style, I just want to see the color. So these are the color options available to me. I can choose any of the color options. See, people generally you need to understand is that when we talk about the charts, chart is something, अगर मैं किसी को presentation देने जा रही हूँ, be it my management, be it my customer, or be it a prospective buyer or anything, obviously charts are more impactful as compared to what I'm showing them through pivots or through filters or any other text data. See, myself, I will take a lot of time to read the figures and to make the comparison in my mind what the figures try to show. But once the data is in a pictorial form, it's more easily visible to my eyes. Okay, this particular column is bigger than the other, so obviously we have made a higher profit or a higher market share I am having. So charts are something you need to apply a lot of your creative bent of mind. How do you want to show? How do you want to leave a long impact on your audience? So though it appears like it is just a matter of colors and everything, but it is very important when you talk about your presentation skills to the management. आप जब डैशबोर्ड बनाते हो या ट्रैकर्स बनाते हो या सीनियर मैनेजमेंट के लिए कोई भी रिपोर्टिंग बनाते हो, यू हैव टू बी श्योर इट इज कंसाइज एंड इम्पैक्टफुल. ठीक है, तो आगे बढ़ते हैं. ये अभी हमने देखा कि अगर मुझे ये चार्ट यहाँ पे इंसर्ट करना है तो मुझे क्या क्या करना है. Now let's talk about the formatting. अब इसमें इतनी सारी चीजें हैं, we can do a lot of formatting in that. So let's again go into the data. Sorry, Alt F. अच्छा, अगर मैं इसको Control Z करती हूँ, now what I want this chart on a separate sheet. So another shortcut is just press F11. Your chart on that data will come on a separate sheet. Now this is a separate sheet inserted, that is chart 1. So you can have it as a separate sheet also in your Excel. ठीक है, अभी मैं यहाँ पे नॉर्मल यहाँ फॉर्मेटिंग वाले पे आ गई. यहाँ मैं एक चार्ट इंसर्ट कर रही हूँ, Alt F1. Now let's suppose फॉर्मेटिंग के लिए बेस्ट तरीका, आप किसी पे भी डबल क्लिक करोगे, so you will get the formatting option. So as soon as I'm clicking on this format chart title, so chart title, I double clicked on that and my formatting options are available. I want to fill it. Let's suppose I want to fill it solid fill. I want to change my color. I can change it. I want to write something else. I can write it as expense data. Then if I want to insert a picture, I can insert a picture. Transparency of the data. So these are multiple formatting options available to you. Then these are text options. You want a solid fill, you want a text outline. So see there is a different gradient line, solid line, just the representations, the way you want to do. Now I have done the formatting of this chart title. I want to do the formatting of my chart area. So I just clicked on the chart area and automatically this box changed into format chart area. Similarly, you will see if I clicked on the plot area, format plot area. I clicked on this format data series. I clicked on grid lines, format grid lines. So part of the chart you are going to click and you can make the formatting options into that. So let's go back into this format chart area. If I'll do that, so I want to have a fill. Let's suppose, though this black is looking nice, actually this is looking nice. We can change it to, no, this is not good. You can change it to this color. You can even have a picture if you want to put your company logo. You can even put that. So these are the options available. Now let's suppose, now these are my axis, right? So in my this axis, wait a minute. So these are my grid lines. These are my major grid line options. Want a gradient line. So I want to see a color that is this. You can change the color. Then I want to have a shadow. You can have a shadow, though it is not visible to me. So these are the different things you want to work upon if you want to change the presentation. So these are the style and colors. And like, so let's suppose these are my legends, format legend options. So formatting plus minus, the way you want to write. Like this is written in something gray. What I want solid fill to be, let's suppose if it is white, okay, now this is more visible in a better manner, right? I can do that. Similarly for this also, I think white would be a better option. You can change it into white for all of them. I can change it to white because I've taken the background as black. Okay. Multiple formatting option. I'll show you one more thing. What you can do is that in your presentations, now let's be in this only chart format. Now what I want, अभी जो बार ऐसे आ रहा है ना, मुझे इसको एरो बनाना है. I want to show it as an arrow. So what I'll do, I'll go into insert, illustrations, a shape. I want this kind of arrow. मैंने बस एक arrow बनाया. Okay, I am changing the shape fill color to orange. Simple copy किया, Control C. इस ऑरेंज वाले डेटा सीरीज पे गई, इसको सिलेक्ट किया एंड कंट्रोल V. दिखाई दिया आपको डिफरेंस? That I changed the shape. I change the shape to an arrow in this bar chart, column chart. करा सबने? ये एक बार करके देख लो, ये नहीं तो भूल जाओगे। बाकी तो आई नो चार्ट का काफी चीजें पता होगी, बेसिक्स तो सभी को पता होते हैं, हाउ टू मेक अ चार्ट। बट सी दिस इज समथिंग न्यू that if I want to change the shape of the column, I can change it. Take another 2 minutes. Do whatever we have done in the chart till now. एक बार अपने हाथों से निकालो। Okay, let's move ahead. Okay, Sunita, what I did is that, so let's suppose I made an arrow, insert, illustrations, shapes. Let's make another arrow. I made this another arrow. Now I'm changing this color to yellow. So I made an arrow, just copied, कंट्रोल सी सिलेक्ट करके मैंने कंट्रोल सी किया। अब मैं इस येलो वाले को चेंज करना चाहती हूँ, तो वंस आई क्लिक ऑन दिस येलो, तो यहाँ देखो ये सेल्स वाला इसने डेटा सिलेक्ट कर लिया है। तो यहाँ मैंने कॉपी करा हुआ है और मैंने यहाँ के कंट्रोल कर दिया। सो आई चेंज्ड माय शेप टू दिस एरो शेप। गॉट दैट नीता? आगे चले अब हम। लेट्स मूव फॉरवर्ड। So now this is a pie chart. Pie chart, you know, a circle divided into parts. So generally it works on only single data. Pie chart के लिए आपका data बहुत specific होता है. So I have taken this quarter-wise sales data and I want to represent it in a pie. So I'm going there, insert, and I want to insert a pie chart. So this is the option. So there are 2D pies, 3D pies, donut. These options are available. So I'm taking a 3D pie. Okay. So in this also I have this multiple options available. The presentation, the way I want to change. Let's take this. Black color is my favorite color. So I'm liking the charts with a black background. If I take this, if I click on this, so what has happened is that if you will see, format options get opened. So once I click on this format chart area, I click on this. So it shows me format data series. Now it is asking me the angle of first slice. Now in my presentation, I want to show this yellow one as the front one because the major sales happened in Q4. So I don't want to take it in the back side. So what I'll do, I'll change its angle. See, I'm increasing the angle and the pie chart is rotating. So I can rotate it. So I rotated it till here and now this yellow one is in the front. I want my pie chart to be visible like this. Pie explosion is basically if you want your pies to be separated. अगर इसे कम कर दोगे तो वो पाई बिल्कुल एक साथ आ जाएंगे। गेटिंग इट? अब कुछ ऐसा भी आपका हो सकता है, एक चंक आप कह रहे हो कि अब आई वांट टू रिमूव दिस क्वार्टर डेटा, लेट्स सपोज दिस इज नॉट अ क्वार्टर डेटा, दिस इज सम department wise data, and there is one thing you want to chuck out that particular department from the organization, you're working on the cost saving, so you want to remove that pie from your data, you want to show it a separate. I can just pick it up and keep it aside. I can again bring it back. I want to keep this aside the way you want to present. So I don't want any one quarter data to be there. So this was exactly like Control Z. Yes. So I was forgetting to paste the apply button. So I just want to see 2 quarters data, 3 quarters data. Accordingly, the data will be visible to me. Okay. ठीक है? आगे बढ़ती हूँ मैं. I'm moving ahead. I hope everyone has done this. Okay, now next sheet, it talks about your column and bar charts. Now let's see, अगर मैं इस डेटा के ऊपर अभी कॉलम लगाती हूँ, कॉलम चार्ट, तो क्या होता है? Alt F1. अभी if you people can see, there is one error in this data. What has happened? इसने यहाँ डेटा लेबल्स में यहाँ ईयर्स लेने चाहिए थे, जबकि इसने क्या लिया है? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Instead of years, it is showing me these numbers. So what happens in charts is that if your first column contains numbers, so it get confused कि वो मेरे data labels है या नहीं, so it won't take it by default. So what we have to do is that we have to tell the system that this is not a data input, this is my headings. Getting it? So how we will inform the system now? Let's do it. Format वाला हम button हटाते हैं. Now this is my chart. What I'll do is that I'll go into this chart design. Sorry. I'll go into this select data. So what data it has selected? It has selected year and sales both. Legend entry series. Series में क्या आ रहा है? दोनों आ रहे हैं. So I don't want year. इसको अनचेक किया, इसको सिलेक्ट करके मैंने यहाँ रिमूव कर दिया. ओके, अभी ये चार्ट किसके ऊपर है? इट्स ओनली ऑन द सेल्स डेटा. नाउ आई हैव टू एक्सप्लेन टू द सिस्टम दैट यू नीड टू हैव दिस ईयर इन द लेबल्स फॉर्म. सो अगेन आई विल प्रेस सिलेक्ट डेटा. यहाँ लेबल्स में हॉरिजॉन्टल कैटेगरी एक्सेस लेबल्स, लेबल्स में क्या आ रहा है? 1 2 3 4. आई विल से एडिट and I'll select the data. Without the heading, I'm selecting the data. Okay and okay. See, now your data has this 2011, 12, 13, 14. This data is visible to you. एक बार फटाफट से करेंगे अपने सिस्टम्स पे सब. यहाँ पे हमने इसका, यहाँ पे आपको सिलेक्ट डेटा में जाना है, ईयर को रिमूव करना है, उसके बाद डेटा लेबल्स में ईयर को ऐड करना है. कर लिया हमने इतना? अब इसी चार्ट को लेट्स सपोज आई हैव टू चेंज द चार्ट टाइप. अब मुझे इसे कॉलम चार्ट में नहीं बनाना, मुझे इसे बार चार्ट में बनाना है. जस्ट गो ऑन दिस, change chart type when I want to see the bar chart, and I selected this and okay. So now this is actually a better representation than earlier because यहाँ automatically मैं ज़्यादा अच्छे से guess कर सकती हूँ that in which particular year I have a higher sales data. So 2019 was the best year and then 2021. So you can change the type of chart if you want to change. Okay, इसके बाद मैं आगे चल रही हूँ. Then it is column versus line chart. I want to have a column and a line chart. Alt F1, change chart type करते हैं. So this MS Office 13 onwards, it gives you an option of combo where you will have both the columns and the line charts. So clustered column years, वो यहाँ पे years है. Then your sales data is there. Expenses. कॉलम की तरीके से दिखा रहा है. ये बाद में हमें इसे सजेस्ट करना पड़ेगा. ईयर इज नॉट माय सीरीज, ईयर इज व्हाट माय डेटा लेबल्स. तो वो भी मुझे यहाँ बताना पड़ेगा. एक्सपेंसेस यहाँ उसने लाइन चार्ट में दिए हैं और सेल्स को क्लस्टर्ड कॉलम में दिया है. दैट इज फाइन, बट ईयर इज नॉट अ क्लस्टर्ड कॉलम. I'll say okay, I have done okay. Then I have again went into my select data. ईयर को मैं हटा के यहाँ से रिमूव कर रही हूँ और इसको एडिट करती हूँ. And I give this okay and okay and okay. So now this is correct. So now I have years in my legends. This is my sales data and corresponding to that sales I had this expenses which I had incurred. Got that? ठीक है. उसके बाद sparkline chart. This is something I actually like. I really love this sparkline chart, a very different kind of thing. I am in my data. I'm selecting my data. So in the insert area, you have a separate option for the sparklines. So lines, column, win loss, ये तीन तरह के sparkline charts होते हैं. So I'm selecting this column one. So it is taking that data range as this. Data range is this B10 से B22, and my location range, sorry, it has to again be selected. So my data range is this, and my location range where I want to have my sparkline chart is in this. Did that and okay. So now what exactly this chart is? ये अलग से नहीं आता है. This is not a separate chart. This is a data columns embedded into your cell. So by default, I've already kept the cell size huge for you people. So you can have it. So this is a chart within the cell. Getting it? And in this, you have multiple options. When Sparkline, this is the toolbar available. Now, what do you want? You want to see the high point. The high point is visible. You want to see the low point. So this is also separate. For the point, let's suppose you want to have a different color. So marker color, high point, and I want it to be yellow. I can change the color. For the low point, I want to change the color to orange. I can change it. So these are the options available over here when I talk about the sparkline charts. And let's suppose if I add few figures over here, now I have to update my chart. Data edit, edit data. Single sparklines this. So I'll again select the data range. And automatically my data is updated. Now since there were negative figures, so my chart changes into this. I can expand it, just dragged it. So in my other column, I have this same sparkline chart for my other figure as well. Getting it, people? The sparkline charts? Any confusion till now? So this is all about the different kind of charts we can use and represent it in the data, the formattings. It's more or less your creativity, the way you want to represent it in your dashboards or your reports to the management. Accordingly, you can get your data made up. ठीक है? So सुबह क्लास से पहले एक बारी just take out 10 minutes, pivots और charts एक बार फटाफट से go through कर लेना so that we can go ahead with our dashboard class tomorrow morning. सिर्फ 5 मिनट, इससे ज्यादा नहीं लगेंगे उसको go through करने के लिए, just before the starting of the class. ठीक है? So that's all for today from my side. So let's meet up tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. Are we okay, people? Okay, finally I'm getting the responses. Okay, so thank you very much. Have a good night. Let's meet up tomorrow at 8 a.m. Thank you all.